Something that is as inevitable as death is life itself. There's power in what is now, because tomorrow, it's a maybe, it's a could be, it's an if. So start living. Not next week when work is slower. Not over the weekend, not tomorrow, but now. Because at Zurich, we believe a life worth living today is a life worth ensuring now.
Life insurance, it's like an umbrella to protect our family. My name is Summer, and my Chinese name is Yin Xiaojun. A lot of Chinese people call me Yin Lao Shi. So I have an institute. The name is the Greater Institute. We are teaching Chinese, so I'm a Chinese teacher as well. And also I'm a mom of 3 kids. So one of mommy recommended Zurich to me. My advisor suggested the plan named Insurers to us. And I think it was a very good option as well because it can cover illness, life, and hospitalization. That was in 2021. I was pregnant of my 3rd baby. So there was one day my husband found a drop of blood stain on my pajama. Then we felt something abnormal. So the doctor suggested we need to deliver the baby first, then we can do more checkup. Then we got the answer. Then the doctor said, yeah, it was breast cancer. After we confirmed that I got the breast cancer, but the hospital I want to go is not covered by my medical insurance. Then suddenly I remembered, we bought the Zurich life insurance, but I was not very sure this is included or no. So we just tried and we contacted my advisor. Unexpectedly fast. And I even didn't drive to meet her. I just submitted everything by email. Then in 1 week, we got the bank transaction to our account. We went to the best hospital. The treatment is very smooth. We will not only have the healthy stress, we also have the mental stress and financial problems sometimes. But because I have the insurance from Zurich and I got the amount advanced the treatment, so I just only focused on the treatment. I don't even worry about anything else. So this is my story on the importance of financial protection and being ready for life.
Something that is as inevitable as death is life itself. There's power in what is now, because tomorrow, it's a maybe, it's a could be, it's an if. So start living. Not next week when work is slower. Not over the weekend, not tomorrow, but now. Because at Zurich, we believe a life worth living today is a life worth ensuring now.
Life insurance, it's like an umbrella to protect our family. My name is Summer, and my Chinese name is Yin Xiaojun. A lot of Chinese people call me Yin Lao Shi. So I have an institute. The name is the Greater Institute. We are teaching Chinese, so I'm a Chinese teacher as well. And also I'm a mom of 3 kids. So one of mommy recommended Zurich to me. My advisor suggested the plan named Insurers to us. And I think it was a very good option as well because it can cover illness, life, and hospitalization. That was in 2021. I was pregnant of my 3rd baby. So there was one day, my husband found a drop of blood stain on my pajama. Then we felt something abnormal. So the doctor suggested we need to deliver the baby first, then we can do more checkup. Then we got the answer. Then the doctor said, yeah, it was breast cancer. After we confirmed that I got the breast cancer, but the hospital I want to go is not covered by my medical insurance. Then suddenly I remembered, we bought the Zurich life insurance, but I was not very sure this is included or no. So we just tried and we contacted my advisor. Unexpectedly fast. And I even didn't drive to meet her. I just submit everything by email. Then in 1 week, we got the bank transaction to our account. We went to the best hospital. The treatment is very smooth. We will not only have the healthy stress, we also have the mental stress and financial problems sometimes. But because I have the insurance from Zurich and I got the amount advanced the treatment, so I just only focused on the treatment. I don't even worry about anything else. So this is my story on the importance of financial protection and being ready for life.
Do you agree that healing from cancer, it's not just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's deeply financial? Are you overwhelmed by the cost of cancer treatment and the cost of recovery? Do you want to navigate insurance costs and understand more? Do you want to know about the unknowns of cancer recovery and treatment? Well, if you answered yes to any of these questions, I would like to welcome you to another episode of the Cancer Conversations with Coach Wanda. If you don't know me yet, allow me to introduce myself. I am one, the top 15 LinkedIn expert in Dubai and number one most influential Filipina on LinkedIn. Every week, we have this episode of Cancer Conversations podcast because our goal is to share life-saving insight, one podcast episode at a time. And today, I'm very blessed. I have two very special guests, Dr. Virushka Mansukani. She is one of the leading surgeons here in Dubai from Prime Hospital. She's a specialist in surgical oncology, and she'll talk about more on what are the do's and don'ts before and after surgery, and also about the whole person healing treatment. And of course, we have another very special guest, Manoj Paduval, is the head of operations at Zurich Life International, because here's the truth. I myself had many problems about insurance and I learned so much, and it's a very critical information for you to know. How can you cover yourself? How can you make sure that your family members or your families and children are covered by insurance to protect your finances and to know more? So without further ado, Dr. Virushka, thank you for saying yes to this.
Good afternoon, Wanda.
And Manoj, thank you again. I'm very excited. Thank you for saying yes to this interview.
Thank you, Wanda. It's a pleasure to be here.
So let's start the ball rolling, because I was reading that Zurich 2025 claims report, and there was information very critical that 80% of claims for women is all about cancer. Now, I know, doctor, from my own personal experience, how my mom's cancer was just detected last year and it's already stage 4. And there's so many things that I was like, what could have I done differently? And I think maybe you could share from your own personal experience, what are the barriers in terms of the cancer detection for women?
So that's very true. I'm sorry about your mom, but the truth is, yes, today, in today's day and age, everyone has either a relative or a close family member or a friend diagnosed with any type of cancer. Just 2 years ago, cancer for breast for women was 1 every 3 minutes, 1 every 18 minutes. We had a woman diagnosed with breast cancer. But just in the last year, it's less than 39 seconds. We're diagnosing 1 woman with breast cancer. So it's become the leading cause of cancer in women. And for men, it's mostly prostate. But for women, and lung cancer has the higher death sentence compared to breast cancer. But now we've advanced so much in cancers that, of course, there are preventive measures. There are early detection, not just preventive, but early detection. Like cervical cancer, you can prevent it with the vaccines that we have for women. We start vaccinating children from the age of 12, 14 years to prevent cervical cancer. So there are vaccines which are coming into play to prevent cancers. As of now, for breast cancer, there's no prevention, but at least there is an early detection. So I always say early detection, early stage, less cost, better healing.
I love that. Early detection, lower cost, better healing. And thank you. I think I've interviewed a number of doctors already, this 1 in 3 women statistics, but I think this is the first time I'm hearing that every 39 seconds. I mean, it's even more alarming, right? Which actually,
True.
This is why we're having this podcast, because I want people to understand that, wait, maybe you've heard of a friend or a family member having, but everybody have the risk, right, Manoj? Which actually brings me to the insurance portion, because I know also from experience, when you're young, you're like, yeah, insurance is a nice thing to have. But I think as you age and then as your parents age, you get to understand that, wait, insurance is a must. Because this is why, it's not just about death, because a lot of people thought, oh, if I'm dying or, I just need insurance, but it's beyond that. And I know you always advocate for, living benefits. Can you tell more? Because a lot of people are so confused with the complexity of insurance, what living benefits are and why it's so important.
Sure, Wanda, and thank you for that question. Probably I'll take a little bit of statistics, hopefully in almost all your questions, and then kind of address what you're wanting me to address. So, 48% of the claims that we have paid out in the last 3 years, which is about $240 million we paid out. So 48% is roughly $140 million. Sorry, 58%, my bad. 58% of the claims that we have paid out of the $241 million, that's roughly $140 million. That's paid out on living benefits. And living benefits is actually a little bit of a technical term that we insurers use. Let me try and kind of decipher that. Living benefits is actually when an insurance policy's benefits are paid out to the insured while they are still alive, right? So for example, a critical illness policy claim. A critical illness policy claim is typically paid out when the insured is diagnosed of a critical illness policy. Let's say, for example, the topic is cancer.
Yeah.
Let's say an insured got diagnosed of cancer, right? The critical illness policy will pay out the claim at that very moment. I repeat, it's paid out at diagnosis, which means, like you said, your mom's treatment, if she would have had a critical illness policy, irrespective of the stage she was detected, diagnosed, the policy would have paid out a claim to her for the entire benefit, right? That would have given, like you said in your introduction, a lot of financial cushion to the family and to the person who's suffering as well to use that money the way they would want to use it. A lot of them would use it for treatments, right? But a lot of them would also use it for many other purposes. I have seen an example where somebody who was living here was diagnosed of cancer. And that somebody was living in a shared accommodation over here, right? And that somebody had a decent critical illness coverage, all right? That person used that coverage, which he got immediately after the diagnosis, to make sure his wife and children are with him during the entire treatment, right? Because he could afford that. It was $500,000 dirhams or so. He could make sure that 3, 4, 5, 6 months of treatment, his family is right besides him. Lovely. So the benefits are galore, and that's why we say it's living benefits, right? That's what we talk about, living benefits as an example, right? So
thank you, Manoj. I love that example because see, if you understand that, wait, you are still alive, there's risk of you having cancer with the 39-second thing. Now, if you will be covered regardless of stage because you have the living benefit coverage, and it makes more sense to get it. And I know, for example, a Zurich client, a friend of mine, he's a CFO. And during that time when he was diagnosed, he had to really quit his job because it was a stem cell transplant. And he was telling me, Wanda, it really saved my life because I didn't have that money to cover for the treatment. It's a very expensive stem cell treatment. And during the time that when he cannot work because his body is still recovering, it really saved his life. I was like, this is why I need people to understand because, we make mistakes thinking about, insurance is just a nice thing to do. But with the age that we're living now, with the kind of lifestyle that we have, it's a must that I hope people get to remember that, why not invest in your health, in the living benefit, because at the end of the day, it's not just for yourself, but for the family that you will support. Now, Dr. Virushka, during the introduction, I know in your profile, you always speak about whole person healing. I'm a complete advocate of that because I've seen how mom goes through ups and downs, and we always have different kinds other than the medicine. We have our coaches, hypnotherapists, etc. Now, can you explain more? Because I've met a couple of cancer patients themselves who are confused, like why I'm not getting well, when I had those treatments already. And I think it's important to take note. There's a concept of whole person healing. Can you explain more about that?
That's true. So being a surgeon, I always say, surgery is not just the final stitch. You deal with the patient in terms of just physical rehabilitation. You have that mental health support. You have physiotherapists. You have a psychologist. You have genetic counselors as well, which would be required to be included in their treatment care because they also have to protect their children, right? If they had a particular genetic testing done. So this all becomes a part, and financial security as well. So most insurances, they are getting better as patients do get better insurances. As we said, it would be the medical insurances, which do try to cover maximum, but there's also a limit. So the whole person healing doesn't work there because they don't cover, most often they don't cover psychology, They don't cover psychiatry. They don't cover mental support, which is the most important. So the cancer journey, the sad thing is, once they stop their follow-up treatments, the chemotherapy stops. They realize that that's not the end of the journey. The family thinks it's the end of the journey. But then, of course, the patient has changed completely, physically, emotionally, mentally, as well as financially. So we need to incorporate, as Manoj rightly said, it need to incorporate even life insurance policies, which will help the patient as well.
And maybe I'll add a little bit.
Yes.
Good that you spoke a little bit about the health insurance as well. There's a common myth that health insurance and critical illness coverage both are the same. Probably through this podcast, I probably
it will
am
be
able
good
to
to know.
break that myth, hopefully. Health insurance is bought by the employer for the employee. Correct? So the employer decides what coverage has to be there. In a critical illness benefit, you decide what coverage you want to buy. In a health insurance as bought by your employer, the employer decides the limit that they want to offer you under the health insurance, depending on their budget. And the reality is, most health insurance only take care of the basic requirements of the law. There are some who go a little bit above, and there are some who really go above and beyond, right? But that they are far and few. So what happens, like doctor was mentioning, in the initial screenings, doctor visits, your sessions, your scans, and this and that, by the time you start your treatment, quite often we have noticed this, that the health insurance limit is now exhausted. Which means when the real treatment begins, the insured does not, or the person does not have enough money to get treated. When a critical illness policy, the coverage is determined by you. So you can decide whether you want to buy $250,000, $100,000, $1 million. That's up to you, depending on what you can afford and what you think would be required at a certain point of time. Of course, it's best to go through an advice, right? And we're happy to provide that advice. The second thing is the benefits are comprehensive. The third important thing is it is not paid to the hospital, it's paid to you. So if God forbid, for whatever reason, your health insurance benefits are exhausted, your critical illness has already paid you the moment you were diagnosed. Use that money for your treatment if you want. If for your treatment here, some people believe there are certain countries in the world where the treatment for certain diseases are much better. Yes, you can fly in there and get yourself treated if you feel that way, even though this country, the medical advancement has been brilliant over the last decade or so. But yeah, if you choose to go to those countries, you can use that money to go. Like I mentioned, you want to get your family beside you, you can do. There's so much more you can do. That I think might contribute to a whole person healing.
Yes,
right?
your family as
Because you're then
not alone.
Yeah, you're not alone. And you're, as it is going through a physical pain, if you're on cancer in most cases, you're also going through a mental pain. Your family is going through pain.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is a financial pain as well, right? And policies like this allow you to not have that financial pain, right? Important part of the whole conversation is get advice. Get advice, right?
Thank you, Manoj. This is why this episode is Truthful Thursdays, because we want to demystify the truth. I mean, personally for me, I've worked with companies for over 20 years. You know, at the back of your mind, because you're working like, yeah, I'm covered, everything's okay. But I've met a lot of patients at the hospital, you know, they're saying they used to stay in another hospital, but now they're staying here, or they have no more coverage, or they're always worried about what to do next because that company coverage is so limited. And I mean, as a finance person, I know the company will always like, yeah, we just need to comply with the law. We're going to give you this kind of, you know, insurance benefits. But at the end of the day, they also want to save costs with that number of people. So this is why it's both understandable that, number one, these companies are trying to protect their cost by not giving a lot of coverage for people. But at the same time, it will be good for employees to know, wait, I have company coverage, but it will be good to have those critical illness coverage, those living benefits that you mentioned. Because if they know that, you know, there's health benefit from the company and you have additional financial cushion from the insurance that you will get the moment you have those diagnoses, then it will really mean a lot for them. So I hope we shed a lot of, you know, I always like, I'm an advocate for this because I was like, if I would have known, and I was like, if I could have, I would have done for mom when she was like, very early age, because nobody tells you, right? There's so much misinformation about that. And I think it's good to know. Now, we spoke about women and coverage. Now, I know also that from the report, Dr. Verushka, that men have a lot of, you also mentioned that men is having prostate cancer, but they're healing from that. Can you give some thoughts? Because I know that's another thing. We always talk about women, breast cancer. There's always a lot of celebrations and information. But wait, men, I know from statistics, maybe you'll have a more updated, that 1 in 2 men have the risk, which is higher than women. Can you talk more about that?
Yes. So every cancer, even in men, prostate is very common. Lung and is also common. Colorectal is common. That is, the intestine cancer is also common. And I would say, as we rightly said, there aren't any good cancers, but if you were to have a cancer, especially in a male, prostate, as we rightly say, prostate, a man won't die of the cancer. So they might die of another disease, but not of the prostate cancer, because we can even screen. So we always talk about screening for women for breast, but for men, even for prostate cancer, you can do a screening as well. So we start screening as per the guidelines. If you have family history, then the man comes between the ages of 40 to 54. And if you don't have families, above 50, you come for screening. It's just a simple blood test.
Oh, wow.
So it's called, just a simple blood test. It's called the PSA. We get the report, and there are different kinds of PSA that we do. It's prostate-specific antigen blood test. And then we'll go ahead. If that becomes high, then we do some ultrasound screenings, and then we can treat that, and then we find a biopsy if required. So I would say screening is so important these days. If you pick it up early, you can actually prevent it from going to an advanced stage.
Wow, that's good. A lot of people I know are even scared to get screened because they don't want to know they're sick.
The fear.
It's the fear. But I think it's good to know it's not a very critical procedure. If you can just give a little blood, then why not? And I think this is why, we want to advocate also. Why not get screened early so right?
Yes.
Now, just also, Manoj, I remember there's another statistic which says that women have very lower coverage, which for my side, it's like, I feel very sad. I mean, I know that there's a lot of things that needs to be done. And if women can be more aware, what could that be, that advice that you can give? Or what do you think we could do differently as women to get ourselves and our families covered?
Okay, so again, going with the statistics first. 40% of all of our policies are policies owned by women.
Wow. Okay.
Right? So then you might say, okay, men own 60%, therefore women own less. But if you take a step back and look at the population split in this country, it's almost 70-30, 70 men, 30 women. So then women do have a decent coverage from that perspective, right? Women who have bought their policies with us, 58% of them also have bought living benefits like critical illness.
Okay.
Now, having said that, let me try and address your question, there were 2 parts to it, in 3 different parts.
That's good.
First of all, let's talk about advice. We provide advice to men and women equally. There is no differentiation there, right? The only challenge that we have, we meet more men than women. They give us more. They give our advice team more appointments than women. So I'm looking at the camera and I'm saying, if women are listening to this podcast, if women are hearing this podcast or watching this, please, when you see your phone beeping with Zurich International Life, that's an advisor calling you. Give an appointment, right?
Yeah.
Because that advice can change your life.
Yes.
Right. And the reason why I'm saying that, staying on the advice. If we meet 3 people and whom we provide an advice, 1 out of that 3 takes a step to buy a policy. So we're protecting 1 family
That's
there,
nice.
right? So the more we are able to meet, the more we are able to protect.
True.
And this advice is absolutely free, just in case you were wondering about it, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first part of it. The second part, now you must be thinking, why should I buy, right, as a woman? Well, a couple of statistics more, right? Women are diagnosed of critical illness at least 4 years on an average earlier than men.
Oh, wow. That's another good statistics.
And then if you were not concerned enough, remember Dr. Verushka said every 39 seconds there's somebody diagnosed, right? So if that is not more or a good reason for you, then unfortunately, the average age of death in a woman is also 4 years younger than men. Right? I think these are pretty strong reasons. We know the probability is there, but for women, the probability is younger and faster. Right? So that's another reason. That's my second part to your answer. The third part. So if you're not worried about advice, if you're not worried about yourself, you should be definitely worried about the society. I strongly feel that women and the talent that women possess, it's a big boon to the society in general. Whether you are a homemaker who's taking care of the family, or you're an entrepreneur, podcaster, influencer, a doctor, or you're in a workspace in a corporate working, your talent is contributing to the society. Right? So you need to take a step to protect yourself, the talent that you're contributing to the society on one side. And if you're men who are listening to this, please make sure when you do an advice process, you're sitting with an advisor, you are talking and thinking about your spouse's coverage as well. Slowly but surely, if we take these 3 steps, advice, being aware, and making sure that we're covering the entire family, we will bridge that gap.
I love that. You know, I was reflecting on my own family experience. My husband is the one buying the insurance. Like, you know, he's got himself covered. It's like, wait, we need to have joint coverage, etc. And I think this is why even we're having this podcast, because I want women to know, wait, women, we do a lot of things, as you rightly said, whether you're, you know, at home, at work, entrepreneur, or whatever you have, because you take care of yourself, your family, your parents at the end of the day. You have so much responsibility. And I will say now, I used to think that, you know, when people call your friends, just like, they're selling me something. But I think from my perspective, they're saving your life for the future. And if you just listen, because if you only understand the kind of risk that you have now, it's a cancer risk for everybody, no exception. But if you protect yourself now, you protect your family, then it will make a lot of difference. Now, doctor, again, from, you know, as an accountant, I love numbers. There's another statistics on the report which says that, you know, the critical illness claim now is at 50 and the death claims at 52. Now, both from a doctor and the insurer perspective, I want to understand, how is this affecting family life? Because I'm now like 45 and I was thinking, oh my God. I mean, this is, I know, the peak of our lives where we're just taking care of our children, we're taking care of our parents. So how is it affecting the family dynamics from, you know, a medical or a personal perspective? Then we'll hear about the insurance perspective.
So as you rightly said, that's the peak of our age, right? Our learning curve, our career. We're mothers, we're taking care of our parents as well, we're taking care of the kids, and we have work as well. Even if you're a homemaker, right, you still have a lot of things to do. So the only way, the burden, the financial burden, the support required from a woman is so much that it would be nice if we always say health is wealth, right?
True.
So if you have health, everything else falls into place. You can work, you can do everything. So screening, just come for screening. A woman just taking like one appointment to meet a general practitioner or just annual checkups. Most companies do have the annual checkups for their employees, right from heart checks. For women, it's for breast, for colon, for men and women above 40. So these are just simple tests to be done. It's just a simple blood test. It's a simple colonoscopy if required. So we are now in the stage of prevention is better than cure. So like there are pre-malignant conditions. So now we're diagnosing a lot of breast cancers before they turn into cancer. So we have what they call the pre-cancers, which are called the DCIS. So we're doing before a cell changes. I always say it's a normal cell, changes to something atypical, then changes to something pre-cancer, and then changes to something cancer. So there is the signs that are there in your body. So once you get the pre-cancer stage, we're actually stage 0. So you don't need to go for chemotherapy. You don't need to go for the advanced costly affairs, you know. So I think this is important. A woman just has to take a day to take care of her own body, and then she can take care of the family.
That's good. That's good to know. I mean, I have heard of that stage 0, but that I never understood it's pre-cancer. And I think this is why it's very important to know that there are several stages, and at many stages it could be detected before. And I agree. Why not work on, you know, prevention than cure? It will cost you very, very less, and that's very good. Now, Manoj, from the insurance perspective, this statistics is kind of disturbing, honestly, for me. But what are your thoughts about it?
Dr. Verushka spoke about the peak of your career, the peak of your life, right? And that's true from a financial perspective also. Look at it, you are in that 40s, 50s, around that time. 50 you said is the average age of a critical illness claim or average age of death. So around the 50s, you typically have your children, if you have children, your children who are going to higher secondary school or are in college, right? That's the time when you're spending the most towards your children, right? They've not yet settled, right? That's still a few years away, right? Then you have a mortgage most likely either here or back home that you're still paying off. You got a few more years to go, 5, 10, I don't know, years to go more for the mortgage. So you still have liabilities on you. Like Dr. Verushka was mentioning, you have parents, maybe they're ailing, maybe not. I hope they're not, right? But you're taking care of the parents and you have expenses there, which means you're that period where your outflow of money is very high.
True.
And if an illness or unfortunate death just stops the flow of income, that's going to be catastrophic. Probably you're also at your good stage of your career if you're working, or right, because you've been working for some time, if you're in your 50, right? But if that income stops and you don't have financial protection through an insurance, then what you're actually doing is you are dipping into your savings, which you had kept for your kids' college, which you had kept to take care of your parents, which you had kept for your own retirement, right? Or which you would have kept to pay off mortgages just in case you wanted to save up for it. So you want to dip into that savings, right? So in this peak years, if you are left without an insurance coverage, that's very dangerous from a financial planning perspective, right? But at the same time, that's not at the age, any age is great to start, but I would recommend start early. Because if you're starting early, starting young, then your premiums are lower, right? And the great part about insurance, most insurance policies, whatever age you start the policy, the premiums charged based on that, and it's a flat premium throughout, right? So you're buying young, you're buying cheap, right? It's like going to a big store and getting the insurance policy at discount, literally. So my recommendation is don't wait for your peak years. Get that much earlier in life, right? Just the way doctor was saying that make sure there's a screening regularly happening. I would say make sure that you have insurance much earlier and think about it at least once in a year, right?
True. And I was trying to remember, I got insurance in my 20s. And I was like, you're very young, you don't need, and then I get tired. It's like, why do I need to pay? Because, at the end, it's just like, why do I need to pay? I'm just, I think I'm healthy, I'm okay. But then now I was like, thank God, in my 20s, my friend bought, I bought. And it's going to be
Thanks to your friend.
Thanks to my friend. You just want to help her because she's selling insurance. Sometimes you just buy insurance because you want to help that friend. But, you look back at that bigger picture, that friend is actually helping you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you start early in your 20s and now in your 50s, I agree, we do have a lot of responsibilities. And dipping into that savings is gonna make you worry more. And this is the same CFO that I mentioned, that he's like, he didn't even share about his cancer story because his fear is that, when people know that he got sick or he is sick, either he will not get a job or what will happen next. There's so much stigma around it. Now, Dr. Which brings me to the question, a lot of people lose themselves and their identity in the process of, after treatment, or even when they get diagnosed. It's like the world closed on another level. And after treatment, I've heard a lot of patients that they don't even know now because they cannot get a job. They are not functioning as normal. What's your best advice from that perspective? How, hospitals and healthcare and maybe, insurers are helping from that perspective?
Yeah, so that's true. You're not the same. Once you're diagnosed with any disease, I think especially like a critical illness, you're not the same. You are not the same. Your relationships are not the same. Your confidence is not the same. It's all about playing with the mind. So I always tell my patients only one thing. Your mind at this point of time when you're diagnosed with something like this can either be your enemy or it can be your friend. So you got to start making those decisions. So of course, it's not just the treatment of chemotherapy, surgery, radiation. They go and meet different kind of doctors. They meet, but they don't get the advice that they would like, which is the emotional support.
Yeah.
Which is really tough to understand first what they are feeling. Just yesterday, it was quite sad. Like one of my patients came back and they said, Dr. Varshka, the most hardest part was the radiation. Everybody told me just like sunbathing, but it was the hardest part. I'm emotional, I want to cry. I said, you just sit with me for 5 minutes. And then she said, if I knew that radiation had these side effects, I would have chosen differently, or I would have chosen at a different point of time, or not had work. There were so many aspects in life that I think we as doctors can help the patient. If we understand what we're going for and what are the side effects, I think the patient would also understand, okay, this is a normal side effect. This is the normal way to go. And then I think we could help the patient much better. Insurances are trying to help them, but here we go again. It's a limit. So sometimes you have to stop treatment. The patient has to go to another doctor, get comfortable with the other doctor, and then go back either home if it's too expensive to continue at a particular place, or stop treatment, look for financial aid with support groups, and that stuff then.
Yeah, I know.
So you're struggling with your physical illness, and then you have to struggle with also you need treatment.
I agree. I've seen that in many patients and even mom. Now, which also brings me to the question because, personally, because sometimes I don't get the answer from one doctor because either the doctor is too busy or sometimes the doctor doesn't want me asking too many questions. So my mom personally have many doctors because I need to do this and that. Now, Manoj, I know from the Zurich Insurance, you have something called the medical service opinion. I hope
Second
I got
opinion.
medical second
Yes,
opinion.
yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Now, can you talk more about that? Because I think from my perspective, when I understood more, then I was able to help mom more too. Now, can you explain more about the second opinion? Because I think it's a must that people needs to know and must have because it will give them so much comfort. Some doctors will give you like 5 minutes, don't talk to me anymore. But some will have that really patience to sit down with you, understand and explain in detail. Can you explain what is that and how can it help the patient and the families too?
Yeah, sure. So medical second opinion is a world-class, it's a facility, right? As the name suggests, you're getting a second opinion about a medical condition, right? So we provide that benefit on almost all our policies, and we don't charge for it as well, right? So it's free. So if you're buying a critical illness policy, whether you're buying through any of the whole of life policies or any of those, it's available. Now that's as far as availability, it's not charged separate. What does it do? I think that's where what it does is it gives access to that customer, client, insured, whatever you want to call, 1,000+ experts around the world. That access is available to them from an app, right? So when they have a diagnosis report, a diagnostic report, or a diagnosis has been done, that report, along with a possible treatment plan, if they are putting up on the app and requesting for a medical second opinion, that has been looked at by the best of the best experts around the world.
Wow, that's good.
See, I mentioned this earlier. Healthcare in this country has progressed significantly in the last 1 or 2 decades, right?
Yeah.
So most likely your doctor that you're sitting with is very well equipped to give you everything that you want. But there is this something sometimes in our minds that we say, maybe there could be a different treatment. Maybe there could be a different way. This is a great option, right? You get thousands of experts sitting around the world. So it will be directed to the right expert depending on your illness that you've been diagnosed of. Then they will look at it. They'll look at the diagnosis. They'll look at the treatment plan. They will look at different case scenarios around the world, right? And they'll come back to you saying, hey, this treatment plan looks good, which gives you the comfort. It may say, this looks good, but we can also do 1, 2, 3, 4, which then allows you to take that to your physician, to your doctor, to your surgeon, and say, hey, listen, I got this medical second opinion from a great reputed organization through a great expert. What do you think about it, right? And the doctor might say, hey, this makes sense. We might let's try this alternate plan. That benefit, availability of that benefit is a great thing.
Yeah.
I hope you don't have to use it ever. But if you have to, then this is a great thing to use because it gives you that extra comfort, right? And I'm sure doctors and hospitals also do some bit of it, right? These days, right?
Yes, so we also have like panels, as Manoj rightly said. So for every critical illness or every complicated case, be it cancer, be it anything, so we have like these multidisciplinary team approaches, what they call the MDT meetings that we have. So every hospital has these meetings and these tumor board meetings bi-weekly or weekly, and we discuss every individual separately. We discuss all the possibilities. We have a panel of minimum of 10 to 12 experts sitting, and then we have a treatment plan individualized for that patient. So as you rightly said, we are not only individualizing every patient's treatment, but with a panel of experts. So at least it gives the patient the best care possible, which is available in that country at that point of time, and also looking at the patient's benefits and preferences for that health journey.
It's a great combination to have. Doctors who want you to help are looking at your report individually and saying what could be the best course of treatment, and the access to global healthcare system through a medical second opinion. As a combination, I think that can provide a lot of comfort to patients at a certain point of time, right? And that's probably what we would want to talk and let people be aware of, that something like this is available.
I think first, I love that it's free.
Yes.
People love free. And I think if you buy that coverage of insurance and then you get that medical second opinion, it makes a lot of sense, because honestly, it's a lifesaver to listen from another person, because it validates a lot of things. I mean, I've seen Indian doctors. I have seen a lot of doctors, honestly. And it's good to know I don't have to go around, because there's somebody who are experts already who know this. Now, I'm learning a lot today. If you're watching us live or on replay, today we have the episode Beyond Treatment, How Surgeons and Insurers Are Transforming Cancer Treatment. Now, before we end the episode, I learned a lot already. I think, Dr. Virsh, there's so many things we talk about here, but I always believe there's what is that one thing that the best advice you can give to people to protect themselves and their families from cancer?
Yes. So first is be aware. Don't be in denial. Don't Google. Come to the right expert. Google is amazing as well, yes. But, we do exist. Come for a checkup. Get your annual screening. There are so many things that your doctors can tell you about how to prevent or how to pick it up early. So there is so much that you can do. No stress. It's just to come for a simple appointment, get screened with different as per your age, as per your diagnosis, and then we have your treatment plan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, Manoj, any last words, best advice for people to really, make this understand how important life is, taking care of yourself, and of course, from the insurance perspective, how it can help people from a different level?
See, protecting our families financially is not just a responsibility, it's also a right
True.
that we have. So therefore, getting the right advice is also a right.
Yes.
So my advice is get an advice, right? And get an advice as early as you can in your life, right?
Yes.
And I said this earlier as well. The next time your phone rings and says Zurich International Life, please pick up the phone, right? There could be somebody on the other side who might change your life forever, right? So get your advice and get it right and get it early, because that allows you to stay protected. See, it just takes an hour once in a year. And I'm pretty sure we, ourselves and our families deserve that 1 hour of conversation with a financial planner.
True.
Right? So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you again, Dr. Vrishka. Let me summarize this episode. I learned a lot today. There's so many statistics to talk about, but I think number one, you need to be aware. Get yourself tested. Prevention is always better than cure. As Dr. Virushka said, every 39 seconds, somebody gets detected with cancer. So please, please, please do that. And I think I love what Manoj said. Every person have the right to have the right advice, to have the right to get yourself protected as early as possible. So why not spend time to talk to a person who can help you? Because at the end of the day, it's for you, it's not for them. Because if you can get covered regardless of what happens to you, not only by your company or organization or by yourself, where you get critical illness living benefit coverage, the moment you get diagnosed, it means means a lot. And with that, I would like to thank everybody. This episode is sponsored by Zurich Insurance. I learned a lot. Thank you again, Dr. Virushka. Thank you, Manoj. And
Thank you,
till the
Wanda.
next episode, we wish you all best. And if you need more information or if you want us to guest any person on the Cancer Conversations podcast with Coach Wanda, please send us a message. God bless you.
Something that is as inevitable as death is life itself. There's power in what is now, because tomorrow, it's a maybe, it's a could be, it's an if. So start living. Not next week when work is slower. Not over the weekend, not tomorrow, but now. Because at Zurich, we believe a life worth living today is a life worth insuring now.
Life insurance, it's like an umbrella to protect our family. My name is Summer, and my Chinese name is Yin Xiaojun. A lot of Chinese people call me Yin Lao Shi. So I have an institute. The name is the Greater Institute. We are teaching Chinese, so I'm a Chinese teacher as well. And also I'm a mom of 3 kids. So one of mommy recommended Zurich to me. My advisor suggested the plan named Futura to us. And I think it was a very good option as well because it can cover illness, life, and hospitalization. That was in 2021. I was pregnant of my 3rd baby. So there was one day my husband found a drop of blood stain on my pajama. Then we felt something abnormal. So the doctor suggested we need to deliver the baby first, then we can do more checkup. Then we got the answer. Then the doctor said, yeah, it was breast cancer. After we confirmed that I got the breast cancer, but the hospital I want to go is not covered by my medical insurance. Then suddenly I remembered, we bought the Zurich life insurance, but I was not very sure this is included or no. So we just tried and we contacted my advisor. Unexpectedly fast. And I even didn't drive to meet her. I just submitted everything by email. Then in 1 week, we got the bank transaction to our account. We went to the best hospital. The treatment is very smooth. We will not only have the healthy stress, we also have the mental stress and financial problems sometimes. But because I have the insurance from Zurich and I got the amount advanced the treatment, so I just only focused on the treatment. I don't even worry about anything else. So this is my story on the importance of financial protection and being ready for life.